Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. This is the astrological forecast for March 22nd through March 28th of 2020. Now, this is a general overview for what is coming up, and it's designed to overview roughly, well, a little less than 8 billion people on this planet. So if what I say doesn't seem to fit, there's a number of things to take into consideration. The biggest one is that it is a general. There is a number at the base of this video that tells you how to contact me. The easiest way is, quite frankly, email or at innervoiceenterprises@yahoo.ca. Now, there's a list of other ways of getting a hold of me. So I'll start off with the idea of if you like the video, please do subscribe. Remember to like the video. Subscribe so you know when the new ones are coming out. And please share with as many people as you can. That would be really appreciated. Because in all fairness, I'm doing this for you. Yes, I pay attention to it myself. This is how come I can do this. But now that's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider is most people, when they talk about astrology, are referring to the sun sign. But sometimes what you'll find is the moon sign, where your Mars is, where your Neptune is, are much more important than even the sun sign. The reason for this is that Mars is where you're putting the energy, Neptune indicates where your subconscious is sitting, and the moon shows you where your emotional state is. Now, if you've got your own chart, if you've already got it in front of you, look it up. Or if you know how to, look it up. It may have more impact for you. Either that or contact me directly and I can certainly fill you in. I've got the books right here. So, with this in mind, let's get started, shall we? Now, we always start with an overview. Okay, so the first card, well, would you look at this? In spite of everything going on around the world today, the Two of Cups, is showing that people are coming together. People are coming out of the woodwork. They are starting to reach out to each other. This is exactly what the world requires. Okay, so we do encourage you. We, by the way, refers to myself and the various spiritual guides that I have, as well as the one of your guides that tend to speak up. The Two of Cups indicates a unification between people. This shows people are finally pulling together. Sad to say, it took a major calamity to do it, but this unfortunately is it seems to be a normal pattern for people. Now, Aries. Aries, we have the Five of Wands, showing strife. Well, there's certainly a lot of strife. The thing you got to remember is there's only two things in this world that you control. Yourself, what you do, and what you think. So yes, a lot of things happening around you are caused by something. It may be caused by somebody else. It may be caused by nature itself. Point in fact is it's actually caused by a combination of things. However, what you think about it, how you speak about it, and how you act about whatever you're facing, that's the thing that you're really having to struggle over. I'm absolutely certain that there are things that people do that really agitate you. Now, you know the common concept is that person made me mad, or that person made me do something. The reality is, yes, that person did something that you did feel something about, but it was your choice to say or to act in whichever fashion you chose to. The Five of Wands is indicating it's time to really think about that and take ownership for your own actions and your own thoughts, just like everybody else has to take action for theirs. Okay, now, Taurus. we have the can't even read my own card. Of course, in all fairness, I'm actually doing this at 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So, this is the Eight of Pentacles, meaning you're learning new skills. These may be skills that you used before and reminding yourself of them, and given that we can take into consideration past lives, it's certainly a case of remembering things you've done before. Of course, if you don't believe in past lives, you don't want to look at that side of it, then let's just stick with the present. When you were a child, you had different things to do. Now, when you're growing up, everybody says, well, people don't change. We know for an absolute certainty that people change. Think of it this way. I'm pretty certain the greater majority of you are no longer wearing diapers. When you were younger, you did. At least that's the hope. Okay, so right now for Taurus, it's a case of either learning or remembering old tools and new ones to change the way things are happening around you right now. Now, Gemini, we have the Magician card. Now, the Magician card, because it's inverted, says you still have the tools to change what's going on around you. The sad reality at this point is you're looking at the surface, in all likelihood, and the Magician card says you're not putting the tools to proper use. This may mean talking to somebody that can point out what you're overlooking. There's a commercial out talking about on TV, or used to be out anyway, talking about being nose blind, meaning you may be in a situation that is so common for you, you just don't notice it anymore. Okay, the Magician card says you've got the tools, you may have forgotten them, and this may indicate that talking to somebody else, be it a friend, be it a professional, might be a spiritual guide of some form. The point being, talk to somebody to help you look at what you're doing and perhaps find a different way. Okay, many people talk about going through anger management. Well, I know for me personally, a lot of my anger is internal because I haven't been able to. This is where we know that I'm not absolutely perfect. If I were, rest assured, I wouldn't be here. If I were absolutely perfect, I'd just talk to everybody without having to use a video. But, that said, this is a question of learn the tools, remind yourself how to do things that are complicated. Okay, that you may see as complicated right now. Now, Cancer, we have the Knight of Swords. This shows a drive to go forward, a drive to change, a drive to make your life and presumably the lives of those around you a little better. Okay. However, there is a caution. Think before you jump. I asked my mentor one day, I asked him, what do you do when your mind and your head and your heart are in conflict? And seriously, the man laughed at me. And he looks at me and he goes, well, that's simple. He goes, when your heart and your head are in conflict, follow your heart, but use your head to get there. And of course, using your head does also indicate you should be actually following karmic law. Meaning, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. So, the Knight of Swords does show that you're moving forward. You have the ability, you have the drive to make the changes necessary. But be careful that you don't run so fast you don't see what's going on around you. Remember, the whole point of life is to live, to experience what's going on, and hopefully you're choosing to experience the positive things. Now, Leo, we have the world inverted. Well, no kidding. Take a look at the reality out there. The world has been turned completely upside down, and in all likelihood, you're feeling pretty much tossed and turned and almost out of control. So with that in mind, keep an eye on that side of it. Okay, and you'll find that things change very nicely. Okay, it's going to be a little tumultuous for you for the time being, but the world being inverted, There's an old saying that goes that it always looks worse before it looks better. Okay, try cleaning your room. You'll notice it does look a whole lot messier than when you get into the start of it than it ever does when it's all finished. Virgo. Now, Virgo, this looks really bad. The Three of Swords kind of looks like it's painful, which it is. It does indicate heartache or heartbreak. This does not mean that anybody around you is necessarily dying. Okay, and hopefully nobody is. Okay, but heartbreak also happens when something that you've believed all along is all of a sudden shown to be wrong. More often than not, this comes to light when it comes to somebody close to you. However, I know from practical experience, both from the people I've talked to and what I've personally gone through, that it can be a real shock to the system when you find out that a belief structure that you've been following isn't quite what it's been laid out to be. Okay, imagine my shock when I did a whole pile of work years ago on myself and found out that although I grew up believing that I had been ostracized as a child. Okay, now that people had stayed away from me, people were afraid of me, etc., etc. Imagine my surprise when I discovered that I had actually done that to myself, not because of what they had done, but because of my feeling of being different. Well, take a look at what I'm doing right now. Now, picture doing that in the middle of a Bible Belt in a small town on a military base. Not necessarily fun, and just to make matters worse, I preferred country music over rock and roll, where most people like rock and roll. Just didn't fit. Now, let's go to Libra. Libra shows temperance inverted. Okay, now you may be finding that your tolerance level of people is a little bit off, or the tolerance level towards situations. Again, we go back to the statement I made earlier in the video about take a look at what you've got control over. You have control over what you're thinking and what you're doing, and that's it. How other people think, how other people act, you cannot control that. Especially when you take into consideration karmic law. The last thing you want to do is start trying to control people. Now, there's a very big difference between controlling people and influencing people. Influence is done by showing people, by acting in a certain fashion, and let them alter what they're doing based on what you're doing. This is not control, this is influence. Now, Scorpio, we have the Chariot inverted. Now, isn't it kind of surprising that a lot of these issues show things are completely unbalanced? The Chariot being inverted does indicate that your life is likely not in control right now, at least not in as much as control as you'd like. So here's the key. Take a look at what's going on around you. Look at what you have actual control over, what you think and what you do. Pick something you're not happy about, that you are not content with in yourself or in your life or in the world around you. Okay? Doesn't have to be a big thing. Now, we're all taught that change is a difficult thing, change is scary. So let's take it into perspective. Since I got you on the video anyway, here is the Chariot inverted. Now here's change. You see where it's sitting right now? Now I'm going to move it over here. Now you had to watch it. Actually, try that again. It's sitting there now, it moves over. You had to watch it. So your eyes had to change where they were looking. Did that hurt you? Was it scary? Try it yourself. Hold a card in front of your face and move it. See if that scares you. Okay, little changes. If you don't like them, if you make a change, you can bring it back. You can always put it back. Can't undo the fact that you changed it, but you can certainly correct it and put it back where it was. So it does show things are a little bit out of balance. This is the time to take a look at them and really decide what you're doing with them. Now, let us see here. How about if we go to, we'll try English. Sagittarius. Sagittarius, we have the Nine of Cups. Now, this shows abundance, and in today's world, that might be a frightening thought, considering everybody's talking about closing buildings down and what have you. And I'm telling you that you've got the ability to have the abundance in your life right here, right now. The choice is how you're going to go about that. Are you going to work with the people around you, or are you going to step back and let things collapse? Are you going to fight them? Okay, you'll find if you work with the people around you that things happen a lot more readily, and you'll feel a lot better about it. Now, Capricorn. Capricorn, we have the moon inverted. This is telling you that your emotions are likely in chaos right now. So, when emotions are in chaos, the quickest way to sort that out is through thinking. Take a step back and think things through before you react. And rest assured, if you're one of these people that has a temper problem, this is an extremely advisable step. Take a step back and think before you open your mouth. You'll find that you feel better in the long run, and so does everybody around you. Except, of course, the people that like seeing people upset, which is a little twisted in my eyes, but what the heck. Now, Aquarius. Aquarius, we have the Ace of Wands right here. Being as it's inverted, it tells you, you know the path that you've got to be following on. It is indicating there's a lot of roads all converging together. It's kind of like the little tributaries leading into a river. Okay, little bits and pieces, little changes, little amounts of water get together and add up to a big change. Same applies to your life path, your emotions, the whole 9 yards. All the little changes that you do, all the things that happen, okay, they all add up to big changes. It's kind of like the old saying, where it comes to finances, if you take care of the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. Think about it. It adds up. Now, Pisces. Pisces, we have the Five of Pentacles inverted. Now you can see, if we were to turn that the other way around, it looked pretty depressing. Well, the Five of Pentacles, because it's inverted, indicates that you're coming into a time where celebration is at hand. It's up to you to make that happen. And now we get around to the other issue. Okay, we always wrap this up with another card for everybody to take a look at. It does show, now this is the Four of Cups, and it shows that it's time to look at the whole picture. And as we indicated earlier, with the first card that came out, the Two of Cups, which shows people getting together, if we take the Two of Cups with people getting together, and we take the Four of Cups showing that everything is being looked at, or at least it's being shown to you, if you put the two together, all of a sudden we've got this incredible capacity to work together to make things happen that on our own we may not have been able to accomplish. Think of it this way: if you're trying to move a 150-pound bucket, okay, or chest, okay, moving it on your own is likely going to be troublesome. If you can lift 150 pounds, great, more power to you. Let's up the weight to 300. You'll get the idea. On your own, this may be difficult. Get somebody else to help on the other end of it, or get 2 or 3 people, and all of a sudden, you can move a whole pile of things. It becomes easier. There's a whole lot of things go hand in hand with that. So this is where the forecast ends today. So we're going to leave it off. Remind you to please like the video, share the video, and remember to hit the subscribe button down below so you know when the new ones are coming out. Until then, take care of yourselves, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.